we are waiting for you. So passionate.
Thank you very much. Actually, enough has been said by the speakers, Folkmar Welker, Professor Cardona, and Dr. Imran Javed. I agree with all these kind of suggestions. In fact, if we look at the history of mathematics, so it is full of these kind of questions, whether mathematics is relevance, what is needed to be focused on math, whether a kind of mathematics which directly applies to industry and application, and either one grasp their focus to only foundational basics. I would like to mention two important events. Number one, during the Renaissance period, afterward, when Napoleon Bonaparte was translating the French Revolution, at that particular time, a radical approach was taken up, particularly mathematics towards industry. And that laid the foundation of Ecole Polytechnic Institute. Monge came, and that gave birth to many important applications. So Monge, Lagrange gave Fourier. So that's why somehow France became a kind of central hub of mathematics. But later on, there appeared a Bourbaki group. Bourbaki group has a kind of philosophy that the whole...
So Bourbaki was not very recent. It is a very recent development.
Yeah, it is recent.
It is the 19th
I said that it is 19th century, but initial was a Monge. And the whole French Revolution is completely based on revolving around turning mathematics to the application. And they were quite successful. And later on, I said later on, in the 19th century, we have seen the Bourbaki group, which again stressed on focusing on abstractness of mathematics. Then later on, Victor Arnold, who is a field medalist from Russia, who wrote a very critical note on teaching mathematics abstractly.
Were you able to spot him?
Yeah, I never met him, but I came across one of the important writing where he wrote a very criticizing note on Bourbaki group. So if we read about the feeling of mathematicians, particularly if we talk about Hardy, we talk about Monge, we talk about Victor Arnold. So there are different kind of thoughts, and particularly let me just remind one very important note by Leo Tolstoy. He was one of the famous French, not Russian philosopher, who once wrote that why not mathematics? Because all the sciences and mathematicians and researchers, they have to draw their focus on one thing in order to explore what kind of new researches they would like to do. Why don't mathematicians tie up their interest to the application so that it can bring more vitality of mathematics into the life? And do you know, when Leo Tolstoy has written that particular note, the one person who protested a lot, and he wrote a note, he was not other than Henry Poincaré. Henry Poincaré wrote a note which titles An Apology to Few Fools. You can Google it, you can read it.
There is also a book, An Apology of Mathematician.
Later on, Hardy wrote the book of A Mathematician's Apology on the same theme following Henry Poincaré. And in the book of A Mathematician's Apology, G.H. Hardy says that I'm really very proud to be a mathematician, that none of my work have seen any application in my life.
Yes, he has written the preface.
So I said that if we talk about mathematics, mathematical culture, it has gone through different phases, and many times there was a lot of stress on the radical thought, many stress on. But I think the most decisive moment, or in other words, the most decisive article I found are the views of Freeman Dyson. Freeman Dyson has written an article whose name is Birds and Frogs. According to him, there are few mathematicians or scientists who are birds who would like to fly from one area to another area, and it is an ecosystem of research. We need birds who connect different areas, who can bring the application, and similarly we need frogs. So if you would like to sustain a system of research, so birds and frogs need to work together. And this is one thing which I think which we need to accept, and give what Professor Folkmar said and what other mentioned. No research culture, nothing, no healthy environment of the research can work until unless both birds and frogs can work together. And regarding to the, so many times universities are forcing, that's one thing Professor Folkmar was trying to say. So universities are forcing frogs to be birds and birds to be frogs. And that is not a fair call.
That's what we call Pakistan.
Yeah. And these are few things. And regarding to the university, I think university and academia, there is one thing which is missing in almost all kind of. So I work different places in Pakistan, and now I'm in London, so I can comment in a better way because I have been in a different system. So in LUMS we do allow the freedom. If somebody, number one, the discipline, the major is not decided from the day one. So student is free, students are admitted to the School of Science and Engineering, School of Business, School of Humanities, but they are free to choose, pick courses if they have taken their core. So they are free to pick courses from philosophy, from mathematics. So in LUMS today, most students go with the minor degree in mathematics, number one. Number two, if one student is focusing for the higher studies, and many students, again, the rat race is there, everyone is following the trend. So everyone is running after the computer science and IT. And if we ask some student, okay, what are you planning for? So I'm planning for higher studies. And why you would like to do something with computer science for higher studies? Let me just make it a clear statement that with the BS computer science degree, if one is focusing on the higher degrees, higher education, the same door is open if one follows the roadmap of mathematics, and even with the physics, they can still major in computer science in higher studies.
Would you favor a double major degree?
Double major degree is a need of the time, number one. So even in LUMS, in our MS and PhD students, they are taking courses from the computer sciences, they are taking courses from the quantum physics and these kind of areas. I think all the universities should open up. Secondly, what Dr. Sir mentioned, this is a very important issue that no university is equipped with full resources, even LUMS does not equip it. So the university should need to link up for resources sharing. So if we talk in Europe, so in Europe, this is quite a culture that a student is attending one course in one university, and the next semester they are attending courses in other universities, and all the results gathered in the course. But at least in graduate level, we should have this kind of freedom in Pakistan. So one student from BZU or maybe from LUMS can come here to the BZU and attending the courses, and similarly the students who are in Islamic University Bahawalpur, they should be allowed. At least we can do these kind of practices during the summer when there is no semester. LUMS do have summer semesters which are 1 month crash course and these kind of practices.
You just ensure us that you will charge us lesser fee, and we should be there.
We are not going to charge any fee.
Thank you. Everyone invited.
Everyone is invited. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.